Hello and welcome to the Sip and Stitch podcast. My name is Brittany and I am coming to you from Houston, Texas. A slightly cooler Houston, Texas all of a sudden, which is exciting. I want to welcome any new viewers for dropping by and checking me out. And also any returning viewers, thanks for coming back and spending a little bit of time with me again. This is episode 3, and so it's been kind of exciting actually the last about week or so, watching, how many people have been checking me out lately. So it's really been quite cool. And everybody, reaching out to me on Ravelry and Instagram and such. It's been really exciting. So definitely thank you all for coming by and reaching out and sending me messages. I do my best to reply to everybody, so very much appreciate it. I also wanted to give out a shout out to 2 specific people that have reached out to me. First is Kathleen, KDZE Knits on Ravelry. She actually lives about 20 to 30 minutes away from me, so we were able to meet up the other night and get some coffee and kind of chat about knitting and our just insane love for yarn. So that was a lot of fun. So hi Kathleen. And we're actually going to meet up again after the new year and dye some yarn. So I'm very excited about that. Also to Tasha, aka Cafe Verona, who has been doing a fantastic job of encouraging me to buy more yarn. She's really gifted Fair Isle knitter. So I've been kind of going back and forth with her because that's going to be the next task I really want to learn after the holidays. So she's been, giving me some great advice, and we're talking about different yarn selections. So she kind of enabled me to buy some stuff the other day. So thanks, Tasha. I need more encouragement. But also, again, shout out to everybody that's reached out to me. It's been really exciting. I started this podcast so I could connect with other knitters and kind of create a little knitting community. So it's, really exciting to hear from everybody, and I'm glad that y'all are all enjoying what you're watching. So, also, I forgot to mention last podcast, all the various places that you could find me on the interwebs. I am on both Instagram and Ravelry as dflyb. D as in dog, fly like an eagle, B as in boy. So those are probably the best 2 ways to get a hold of me. I'm also on Twitter as Sip and Stitch Knitter. And all the show notes are on my blog, sipandstitchknit.blogspot.com. Anything that I mentioned during the podcast will be linked there, as well as I've just written a couple of random blog entries too about things that I'm coming across. So it's a good place. And over the Thanksgiving weekend, I went ahead and created a Ravelry group for the podcast. It's Sip and Stitch Podcast. We've got an introductory thread and suggestions thread on there, as well as I'll talk about it a little bit more later on, but I'm planning a knit along after the new year, so that's going to be kind of the place where we discuss it and such. So check out the new Ravelry group. So I wanted to go ahead and just jump right in. I only have 2 finished objects to show you this episode, and it's just because of the Thanksgiving vacation. I went out of town to go visit some family, so I didn't get a lot of knitting done. And I was driving, so I couldn't exactly knit in the car. I did take a couple of projects with me, but they got some work, but it was more important for me to be spending time visiting with family that I don't get to see very often. So that's going on there. But I do have 2. The first is I finished I'm calling this the Cheeky-ish hat. It's based on the pattern Cheeky by Sarah Stanfield. I really just kind of kept the spirit of the pattern, the decreases, the very basic parts of the construction. I had frogged my initial Cheeky hat because it was just way too big. And so this is the second attempt, and I actually did it with a different yarn than I did my first one. But I kind of used this pattern to create a recipe for a slouchy hat to work for myself. It mostly because I like slouchy hats. I like the way they look on me. I like that they don't mess up my hair, so I tend to wear them a lot when it gets cooler. And frankly, I wear them sometimes when it's not cool, just because I can be kind of hipster like that. So So I knew it was something that I was going to continue to use. So anyway, I cast on 108 stitches in order to get the correct circumference for my head. And it's still a little wide, but I like to kind of wear it down low. It's kind of great for, coming out of derby practice, just throwing it on my head. And I did, the original pattern doesn't call for any needle changes, sorry, to increase in sizing. So I knew I wanted a little bit baggier, so I did some increases. And all this is in the notes on my project page for the hat. I call it, it's like cheeky-ish hat, take 2 or something like that. And then, I knit stockinette and then just followed the decrease instructions that are on the pattern, as well as the little I-cord button at the top. So, and I knit this out of Wool and Vine Yarns, Smitten DK in the Sweet Dreams colorway, and I just love how this knit up. I mean, look at all these cool color changes. It's like a swirl, it's like a pastel rainbow. I'm loving this. And God, I finally got the camera to focus on close up, so that's exciting. That's one thing I wanted to do better this episode. Anyway, and now focus back here. There we go. So here, this is my cheeky hat. Now, you might remember that I was making this for someone else. I decided to keep it because I loved the colors and I loved how it worked out. And yeah, so I decided to keep the hat, and I've been wearing it a lot, so. Anyway, so here's Cheeky, and I'm very happy with how it worked out. Again, if you're looking for just like a basic slouchy hat, I definitely recommend the Cheeky hat pattern. It calls originally for 120 stitches to cast on, but that was ginormous for my head, and I would think for most human heads, because I mean, I have a pretty normal size head, so I definitely decreased down to the 108 stitches, which they call the small, and it's still, quite stretchy. And I did a Norwegian, I think, oh no, Old German twisted cast on. I swear I'm gonna get this right, just to give it a little bit more stretch. So, I'm really, really loving this hat. So there's Cheeky-ish. And another thing I finished, I just did a quick knit one night right before we left to, and when I say we, I mean myself and Holly, my dog, right before we left for Louisiana, because I knew it was going to be a little bit cooler and wanted her to have a fancy little Thanksgiving sweater. So this is Holly's little sweater, and she's asleep right now, so, well, she's playing in her bed, but I don't want to disturb her, so I won't make her model it. But it's just a very simple little doggy sweater, and I don't even remember what yarn this is. It's just some worsted I had in my stash. But and I love how like the color changes happen. I kind of follow the pattern for the Juno jumper, which is a pretty basic dog sweater pattern that's on Ravelry and all over the internet. It's super easy to find, but it didn't really size right. Like I didn't feel like, I just felt like it was being made for a dog much larger than my 4-pound Chihuahua. So I kind of winged it a little bit. It also didn't have sleeves, and I really wanted to have cute little sleeves, so yeah. So this is almost kind of a Holly jumper. We're gonna call this the Holly jumper, because I finally, I had made her one a couple of weeks ago and messed up on the increases, so she had like this big old bulge right around her belly. So I fixed that with the second one, and took really good notes. So I'm just going to kind of use this as like a recipe for any sweaters I make her, because it works pretty well. I did forget to do a stretchy bind off though, so it's a little tight. Like it's not like cutting off circulation or anything, but I'd like it to be just a little bit looser on her stomach. So the next one I'll use a stretchier bind off. Anyway, finished object number 2, and I just knit these on size 7 double pointed needles, which I kind of learned how to magic loop. Well, I learned how to magic loop over the Thanksgiving break. So next time I make Holly a jumper, it'll probably be on magic loop. But anyway, that's that. Works in progress. I got a little bit of sock startitis like right before I left. Like I literally cast on 3 different socks in 2 days. And it was mostly because I just got this hair at my butt last week that I needed to knit socks, and I've been trying to learn how to do 2 at a time socks, which has not been so successful. I did a cuff down, followed instructions for a cuff down, and I kept twisting the cast on, which was just really frustrating me. So I stopped doing that. And then I was trying to follow instructions for 2 at a time toe up, but I'd never done a toe up sock. And it was going really good. Like I wasn't having any real problems with it, but I was using my Hiya sharps, which are very slick, and I would put it down and all my stitches would go flying off the needle. So I get really irritated with that, and I decided I just wanted to do some one at a time socks, but I wanted to do one as a magic loop because I've never really done magic loop before. So I was like, well, I'll do it once, just one sock, and see how it goes before I try to do a set of 2 at a time. And then I wanted to try some toe up. So anyway, so I just started knitting a whole bunch of socks, and then I started one with my normal method, which is the double pointed needles cuff down. So anyway, I've got like 3 socks going now. So right in, and I got this cute basket at Michael's the other day. I went in there to buy some stuff for my Christmas decorations, and this was actually in the Christmas section. And if you can see, it's like got like a cable pattern, and it's just like cream with these little like leatherish handles. This really matches the rest of my decor, and I'm like, how cute would this be as just like a whip basket to sit under my side table? So I bought this, and this is holding all of my works in progress. So I'm pretty excited about this basket right now. And because it was part of the holiday collection, it was half off. So I have this really cute basket for like 15 bucks. I mean, that's crazy. All right, so the first one I want to show you is my toe up, and I am so excited about this. Like, I wanted to do toe up socks for so long, and it was so cool because, you know, I got to like try it on as I went, and that was really exciting. So anyway, here is this is the first one. Now, I already did the toes, the whole foot, did the heel, and now I'm just working on the cuff. I'm not really following a strict pattern. I'm taking the basic construction from Silver's 2 at a Time toe up sock class. So the cast on, I don't know, it's whatever one's in her instructions. I don't know if it's like Judy's Magic cast on or Turkish weave or whatever, but it's on the Silver sock class 2 at a Time. So I'll link that in the show notes. So if anybody's ever like wanted to check out sock knitting, that's how I learned how to knit originally socks, the double point style. So it's a great class. Like, she does a really good job of explaining it. But yeah, so the recipe is just a very basic. She actually does it in worsted weight, and I have tons of pretty sock yarn, so I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to do it, what stitch count and stuff to do this in fingering. So then I combined her for construction, and then for the purposes of like figuring out how many stitches to cast on, there's I believe it's Wendy's, maybe, basic toe up sock recipe. I followed that for that, and then the pattern, the texture pattern, is from Hermione's Everyday Sock, which I knit a pair of those for my mom last like March, I think. So it's a really basic texture pattern, so I just kind of wanted a little something on here. And I am knitting this with its Hedgehog Fibers sock yarn, and the colorway is Pistachio, and it's got all these really cool like purples and greens and like these like specks in it. So I'm having a ton of fun with this. Like, I've never knit with speckled yarn before, so I didn't really know how it would actually knit up. So I'm really excited. Like, as I've been knitting this, I'm like, it kind of reminds me of like a banana split for some reason, but not like, I said that to my dad and he was like, no, it's not a banana split. So maybe it's like some sherbet. I don't know. I'm just having a lot of fun with this sock. And it's, again, I don't have very much left to go. Like, probably about 2 more inches worth of leg, and then I'll do like an 1.5 inch 2x2 rib on the cuff, and then be done with sock number 1 and cast on number 2. So that's my first sock. My second one, and this is the one where I decided just to do regular old magic loop, and this is kind of how I learned to do magic loop, was doing this. Oh, by the way, both that sock and this sock I am knitting on Addi Turbo sock rockets, which are amazing. They've got like this big old long flexible cord that's making magic loop really easy, and I'm just loving it. But anyway, this is the magic loop sock, and you can see I haven't gotten super far on this. I'm still on the leg, and I just kind of made up a little slip stitch pattern to kind of help show off this variegated yarn. And yeah, so this was kind of fun. I did like the stretchy German twisted Norwegian whatever cast on, and now I'm working on the leg, and I'm assuming that it's going to be like every other sock I've made. Once I get to the point where I want to go ahead and do the heel, I do the heel flap and heel turn and join back up. I'm pretty sure that this is going to end up being the same construction as what I'm used to with the deep double point, so I'm not really paying attention to a pattern at all for this. You know, just to kind of double check myself when I get to that point, I'll find a recipe and make sure that I'm doing it right. But anyway, that's this one. I am knitting this in, it's Jinx Yarns, is it Power? Yeah, Power sock base, and the colorway is Haku. So it's got like these pretty like mint greens and purples and such in it. So I'm really liking this, and it's got, like, I can already tell this is going to be a strong sock. Like, this is really good, strong sock yarn. So if y'all have never checked out Jinx Yarns, you really should. I've been buying her stuff like crazy lately, and I'm super excited with the product. So should really check out Jinx, and I'll link to her Etsy store in my show notes. And she also has a podcast that I really enjoy called The Dyer's Notebook. And she's really close to me. She's actually in Dallas, which is only about 4 hours away. So I get like really excited whenever I see knitters and stuff from Texas, because we are such a rare breed. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's in Texas. And the third one, which is, I'm just doing this basic on my old school like double point method, and I'm doing these on my carbons, which is like my favorite needle for sock knitting so far, especially double points, because they're just, the yarn doesn't slide off of them. Like the carbon shaft like really just holds onto your yarn, so you don't have to worry about it flying everywhere. But this is just, I'm just barely past the cuff ribbing on this. I think I'm at the point now where I need to just start doing the leg, but yeah, not very far. Again, this is just a very basic, I'm not even sure what kind of pattern I'm going to use on this. I might just do just do a stockinette. It's a really pretty variegated yarn, so I don't want to overpower it with too much stitchery. And this little thing that I am slipping it into, I don't know if, I'm sure y'all have seen this, but I just want to mention it for any of like maybe newer sock knitters out there. This is a double point storage. I know it's not working so well, and I'm all excited about it, and I want to talk about it. It's a little double point storage tube. I have a couple of these. They're really handy for holding and making sure your stitches don't go flying off the needles while it's in a project bag. You just kind of slip the project in the little slots. Here we go. And it holds it really securely, so you don't have to worry about it like coming off the needles while you're traveling, or needles poking you through the bag. So I got this one from Knit Picks, and then I think I have some gold ones. I'm not quite sure where they came from, but these are cool. Oh, and I am knitting this. It's another Jinx yarn. And I actually had originally intended to do this as 2 at a time, so I have these already balled up into 2 balls. But this is her strong sock base, which is another, it's awesome. I can already tell, like, this is just a great sock yarn. It's super hardy. And the colorway is Petal, so it's got these really pretty pinks and stuff. I'm making these, I'm pretty sure, for my mom, because these are like all her favorite colors. So the lovely thing is most of the women in my family, with the exception of me, have the same shoe size. Well, me and my little sister, she has like teeny tiny feet. And I have the biggest shoe size. Like, it's so funny. My sister is like 5'6", 5'7", and she has teeny tiny feet. And I'm 5 even, and I have the biggest feet out of all the women in my family. It's really weird. But anyway, so most of the women in my family are the same shoe size. So if I want to, like, I just start making a sock, and then I decide, oh, who's this going to be for? Like, I don't really have to plan, like, oh, okay, this is going to be a size 6 sock, so it's going to be for my mom, because a size 6 sock could be my mom, my grandmother, my aunt, like all kinds of people, so it's nice. My next whip, which is not a sock, is my featherweight cardigan, and I did make a little bit of progress on this the other night. I'm really enjoying knitting this, just because I'm super excited that I'm making a sweater. It's just going very slowly. I'm not a huge fan of just knitting stockinette, and this pattern is just stockinette. So yeah, I'm just not as fast at purling. So it just seems like once I get to the purl side, I'm like, oh God, it's the purl side. And I just keep going and going and going. So I made a little bit of progress on it. You can see my little progress keeper, which is where I was last time I recorded. So I've got about another like 1.5 inches or so since then, so I'm excited. Made some progress on that the other night, and I am knitting this in a Pearl Soho's line weight, which is their fingering weight, and it's 100% merino. It's super soft, and it's got this like really great little halo going on right now. And the color way that I picked is ice blue because I like blue, and I feel like I look good in blue. Hey, it actually matches the sweater I'm wearing today. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying this yarn, and I'm just super excited that I'm making a sweater, to be honest. Like, it's probably going to continue to take me forever. Hopefully it'll be done by spring. And I'm not even being funny there. Hopefully it'll be done by spring. But yeah, I'm just excited that I'm making an actual like garment instead of just accessories and socks. So that's really kind of cool to me. And this is living in my new little project bag that I got from Kristen at Wool & Vine Yarns. I ordered this during her shop update a couple weeks ago, and it came last Monday, I believe. And I'm just super excited. It's like this nice, like, medium to large project bag, and it's got this fun little pattern on it. And she shipped it with a progress keeper on the zipper tag that I'm actually putting it on my project. Imagine that. So anyway, I'm loving this bag right now. I've got a couple of other whips in here, but they're just really, I haven't had any progress on them since my last episode, so I'm not going to show you. I'm still working on my 16 cable hat, and I haven't done anything on the paraphernalia socks, just because that's a purely selfish knit, and a knit that takes a lot of time. So I just really need to focus more on like gift knitting right now. So I haven't made any progress on that. And then the Song of the Sea cowl that I am making for the family member that I drew for our Christmas exchange, I had to frog. And it's no fault of the pattern whatsoever. I really, it's got a 15 stitch pattern repeat, and the cast on is like 200 and something stitches. And one night it was probably, I probably shouldn't have been knitting at this point in time in the evening. It was late, but I couldn't really quite shut my brain down. So I was just kind of trying to go, and if anything, I should have picked like my featherweight or something stockinette, so I didn't really have to think about it. But I ended up like messing up the stitch repeat, and then when I tinked back a whole entire row, which God took forever with like 230 something stitches that I cast on. And I realized when I tinked it back that I had dropped a whole bunch of stitches. And like I talked about a couple of episodes ago, I'm not really good at like picking up drop stitches yet. And at the point I'd only had like about this much of the cowl done. So I just frogged the whole thing, and I'm gonna start over again. I just haven't gotten to it. So that's actually something I really need to cast on this weekend, because it's a Christmas gift, and it's going to take me some time, so I really want to make sure that it gets done on time. So I will definitely be working on that this weekend. I've got a couple of acquisitions, some pretty exciting ones to share with you. Oh, I'm just drinking basic green tea today. Yeah, just green tea in my little Texas State Bobcat mug. Eat 'em up, cats. It's my alma mater, so anyway, nothing exciting there. So first acquisition, I bought this when I got the project bag from Wool & Vine. This is her new Gatsby base, which is a non-superwash. It's a 50% non-superwash merino, 50% silk. All of her bases are superwash, so a couple of weeks ago she introduced 2 new bases that are non-superwash. And I just wanted to try it out and see how I liked it. And I was already ordering the project bag, so I was like, I'll just throw in a skein of yarn too. Of course. The colorway is Enjoy the Silence. Now this is a fingering weight yarn, but obviously not sock weight, or it's obviously not a sock yarn. This is going to be a shawl at some point in time, probably after the holidays, or I still haven't decided what I'm going to knit my mom, so maybe I'll make her something out of this. But I'm really liking all of these colors. I've got some fun purples and pinks and some teals and all kinds of fun stuff. Again, this is the Gatsby base, and the colorway is Enjoy the Silence. Next, I fell victim to Jinx Yarn. She ran a Black Friday special, which was like 20% off. It was insane. And her yarn's amazing. So I decided to get on that. Because I decided to keep the cheeky hat for myself, I got some yarn to make another cheeky hat for the person that it was originally intended for. And this is actually a sport weight, with the original one I did in DK. So I'm going to have to change the stitch count just a little bit. But it came with like 328 yards. So I might be able to get, I don't know, I'm going to see how the first one goes. I might be able to get 2 hats out of this. So we'll see. Anyway, this is her Strong Sport Base, which is a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And the colorway is Spirited Away number 2. And so it's got like all these fun, like hot pinks and stuff. I actually think the recipient of this is going to like this yarn a lot more than the one I ended up making the cheeky hat out of, because she loves like hot pink. So I think she's going to really like that one. I also managed to score my first skein of Laura's self-striping sock yarn, and I was super surprised that this was still in her shop on Black Friday, because her shop updates happen on like Tuesday, I think. Maybe she had like I think she had a special shop update last week. But anyway, I was so surprised this was still in there, and so I snatched it right away. This is her new holiday colorway for this year, Festivus. And it is a self-striping yarn. She's got like, what is it? I'm trying to read as I'm talking, because I don't want to lose y'all to lose focus on the yarn. But it's got like a 7 rows of white, 3 rows of gold, 4 of silver, 7 white, 3 light blue, 3 dark blue. It's going to be such a cool yarn. And I've actually never knit with self-striping sock yarn before, so I'm really excited to check this out and see how it goes. And this is in her Glitz sock base. So it's a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So it's got some like sparkle to it. I'm really excited about this yarn. So like, not only was it still in her shop on Friday, but it was also 20% off because it was the Black Friday sale. So thank you. So excited. I also fell victim to Knit Picks' Black Friday special. I decided that I'm going to make my grandfather he's a big Texas A&M fan, and you know, he gets cold, so I am going to make him a team scarf. So I bought some Wool of the Andes in their Curant colorway, which is as close to maroon as you can get, and the Cloud colorway, which is kind of like an off-white. So this is just a real basic Wool of the Andes. Yeah, it's 100% Highland wool. It's basic worsted weight. So I'm going to do the team scarf where it has the big, thick chunks of alternating team colors. The pattern I found is actually, it's a Harry Potter scarf pattern. And I picked it out for not only this project, I'd actually originally picked it out for another family member who had requested one like that. Had requested a team scarf, but it's not a Christmas present, so that's not getting knit yet. But yeah, so I decided I think Grandpa would like one too. So I bought that. Actually, I bought 4 skeins, so this is kind of misleading. I bought 4 skeins of each color. And at Wool of the Andes, it's like $3.49 or something like that a skein, and then it was 20% off for Black Friday, so I think it was a steal. And I also scored some of their Felici sock yarn, which they brought back for a limited time, I believe, for Christmas. And this is in the Fanciful colorway, and it's a self-striping sock yarn, and it's super pretty. So I got, each skein is only 50 grams, so I got 2. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I saw them, and I knew it was kind of a limited stock situation, and all the chatter lately has been like, oh my God, Felici is back. So I was kind of concerned I wouldn't get any. So I just went ahead and bought it. I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. Obviously socks, but probably not for a while. So that was some recent acquisitions. And then I still have, I actually fell victim to Knit Picks for Black Friday twice. And that was where Miss Tasha Cafe Verona convinced me to get some palette to work with to do my Farrell experiments with. So I ordered some of that and some tools. So that's going to be coming. I think it's not something I needed right away, so I didn't pay for the expedited shipping. So it's going to be here in like a week or 2. And then I had ordered some stuff from Owool to do a project that I'm not exactly sure where I paused right there, so jumping right back in. I also ordered some yarn from Owool. That's going to be, that I plan on doing our post-Christmas knit along with. So that, I think that comes like next week. Again, not something for Christmas, so I'm not really worried about it coming anytime soon. So maybe I'll be able to share that with next week's episode or the next. Just some coming attractions I wanted to talk about. Again, check out our Ravelry group. I would love any feedback that you've got with regards to what you would like to see on the show, some suggestions that you have. Again, I started this podcast because I'm a beginner and I wanted to share my beginner experiences and kind of get feedback and be able to share what more experienced knitters are telling me to do with everybody else. So that's definitely a place that I want everybody to kind of interact and, you know, help me help everybody else. So please check out the Facebook, or check out our Ravelry group and, you know, contribute. That'd be fantastic. After the holidays are over, I am planning on starting. It'll probably be like, I'll probably launch it like January 1st. That would actually be kind of cool, like in honor of my first full year knitting. Here's a knit along. Here's my first knit along. Excuse me. But I'm going to launch my first knit along on January 1st. And I'm thinking, I'm really kind of, yeah, I'm pretty sure what we're going to do is I want everybody to pick a project that challenges you. Now, a lot of the people that have reached out to me and have joined the group and such so far are beginner intermediate knitters. So they've been knitting for a couple of years. You know, they made scarves, they maybe made some socks, like, but they're pretty much kind of, you know, they're not stuck in a rut, but there's definitely like room for improvement. And then we've also had some more experienced knitters comment on the podcast and just really, you know, pipe up and make some suggestions. But even those experienced knitters have something out there that they still see as like the challenge. So the prompt basically for the knit along is find a project or find a technique or something, a technique in a project that challenges you, something that you've never done before, and create a project with it. And that will be what we're working on. And then I really would like to see the actual chatter thread be something where we can offer each other suggestions. So for example, what I want to do for mine is color work, because that is a skill that it's going to be on my like next year's knitting goals is color work. I want to do my first color work project, and I'm going to kick that off as soon as the new year happens. So I want to be able to, like, when I run into issues, be able to post in the thread and be like, hey everybody, you know, here's what's going on in my hat. I'm not quite sure like what I'm supposed to do with all these flows, etc. And then I can get some feedback. And I'd like to have that kind of community, not just for my struggles, but for everybody else's. So that's kind of the spirit of this knit along. And I mean, I know that there's some great colorwork people that have already reached out to me. Again, Tasha Cafe Verona. So yeah, so that's kind of the spirit of that. Again, I will open that up in probably January 1st, and I'm not quite sure how long it's going to run. Maybe a month, maybe 2. I'll kind of iron all of that out by then. But so that's that. And I'm working on prizes for that right now. I've got a couple of irons in the fire on some things that I'm trying to get for a prize for that, and another thing. So working on that, and I think I might be able to share them by next episode. So definitely tune back to see what we've got on there. I've also been super overwhelmed the last week with the amount of people that have been subscribing to the podcast. So in that spirit, kind of want to celebrate a little bit. So I set a goal of 100 subscribers. And once I get 100, I'm going to do a small giveaway. And that one, you know, it's totally something like I'm just going to do as a thank you to those of y'all that have been checking me out. It's been incredible, the amount of support and stuff that I've been getting. So, I mean, there were probably once I get to 100 subscribers, I'll post a thread on the Ravelry group with a prompt, and I'll pick, random number generator from there. But the idea is, what prize-wise, I want to get a skein of Interloop Dye Works, which is a local indie dyer here in Houston. I showed in my first episode a skein that I've got of hers that is a sock yarn that I just really, really enjoy. And she and I have been communicating to find out like where I can go get her yarn right now. So I'm going to have a skein of that in a nice color. I think that represents me and represents like the area and such. And then it's from a local dyer to me that I enjoy. So that's going to be a giveaway. And I ordered some progress keepers from an Etsy seller that I'm going to also include. So I should be able to show those hopefully on the next episode. So that is some coming attractions. And that's pretty much all I've got for you in the way of knitting and fiber and such. I, got some great feedback on my little chatter section last time. So, kind of, what's going on with me. I did just get back from a little Thanksgiving trip to Louisiana to visit my family. I talked about that I was getting ready to go last episode, and it was really enjoyable. It's some family that I don't get to see as often. And I got to meet essentially my stepsister and her husband, who are semi-close to me in age, and we had a blast and got along really well, so it was great finally getting to meet them. And I also got to see an aunt who I haven't seen in almost like 5 years, so that was really exciting. I got to see my grandfather on that side of the family who I hardly ever get to see, so it was just really nice. It was a nice trip away, and really enjoyed it. Miss Holly had a blast. Everybody was loving on her and playing with her. It was too cute. And then Saturday, my dad and I went to go see Texas A&M play LSU, which, as an Aggie, it didn't end the way I wanted it to, but it was a cool experience. LSU has a very passionate fan base, and they've had some kind of coaching controversy, so it was a really neat experience to be there. And if you're a college football fan, you need to go see a game in Death Valley. It was intense, so that was a lot of fun. Came home Sunday, and I've just Monday and Tuesday I just really enjoyed like a little staycation. I still had some vacation time to burn, so I took Monday and Tuesday off and just kind of relaxed. It was really nice. Knit a little bit, watch some TV. It was nice to just be able to kick back. Sounds silly. Last night I went with a friend to the Houston Rockets game, which since I moved here I haven't had a chance to go to one of those, so that was cool. That was fun. I love going to sporting events, so sign me up. If somebody's like, hey, I have an extra ticket, do you want to come? Sure, let's go. Yeah, so that was kind of just what I've been up to lately. And again, I'm sorry I haven't recorded at all last week, but I just kind of I was so busy traveling, and so I kind of wanted to spend time with my family and kind of focus. And I really wanted a lot more to show you than, hey, I finished my cheeky hat. So I waited a little while, and I'll be back to normal schedule next week. Yeah, so that was cool. The only bad part about traveling over Thanksgiving was the traffic. I came back on Sunday, which is, I guess, like the heaviest travel day of the year. And what would normally take me like 3.5 hours took me almost 6. So that wasn't fun. I was like standing on the highway for a good like 50 minutes at one point. It was not fun. But Holly was so tired from playing with my dad's dogs that she just slept in her bed on the passenger seat the whole way, so it was fun. But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to lately. I decorated for Christmas when I came back, so I've got my tree up in the corner of my living room over here, and put some lights out on my balcony, so just trying to make it feel a little bit homier. This is an interesting Christmas for me. I've had some life changes in the last year, so it's definitely, yeah, it's going to be an interesting Christmas. So I'm, getting myself in the spirit of it. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been, exciting for me, but nothing that I'm sure will interest y'all. So I'll just kind of leave it there. Anyway, so I will go ahead and sign off for this week. Again, reach out to me on Ravelry, Instagram, both of those are dflyb, Twitter, Sip and Stitch Knitter, and the blog, sipandstitchknit.blogspot.com. Best places to get a hold of me are probably Ravelry or Instagram. And I do my best to answer every message or every comment that I receive. So please feel free to reach out to me. It's been great hearing from everybody. And anyway, so I will leave it at that, and I will be back with you next week. Happy knitting, everybody. Bye.